You're still watching Tea or Coffee on Nigeria's first full HD television, High Impact TV. Now, we are quickly approaching the end of the year 2020. We're about to begin a new year in 2021. All right. Now, a lot of people, a lot of times, with gifts, we just concluded a conversation about, gifting, gift buying and whatnot. With the festivities and the season, the Christmas season, a lot of money is actually spent. There's a lot of, commercial, there's a very strong commercial factor with this particular season, buying Christmas chicken, buying Christmas rice, buying Christmas presents, all of that. Okay, now, it's something that we always say on Tea or Coffee, that you're going to have fun in Christmas does not mean you need to neglect the coming year, that you need to neglect your budget starting the new year 2021 with, okay? You don't want to start off on a very rough patch. You don't want to start off on a very, on a broke page, for lack of a better word. So we have the budget queen in the studio with us, in the person of Temitope Oshimoku. Good morning.
Hello, good morning.
How are you doing?
Thank you for having me here.
Thank you for joining us.
This is a very important conversation because, we find that, so January is always extra long. For some reason.
I don't know why.
For salary earners,
Yes.
that means they have to wait. Especially salary earners who, for instance, exhaust their budgets
Yeah.
in Christmas,
Yes.
they have to wait extra a bit longer.
Especially if they were paid very early in December.
Yeah, so they
Oh
have to,
my God.
and if you have no money, then it's a bit, you're starting the year off on a very rocky.
Yeah.
So before we get into the conversation, what do you do, Budget Queen?
My name is Temitope Oshimoku.
Yes.
Yes.
And I work with a school.
Okay.
Right now, I'm the school administrator.
Okay.
But I've also found that budgeting is very key. It's very dear to my heart.
Yeah.
So I started to pursue more knowledge in that, and again with experiences that I've had with money. So this is what I essentially do right now. I just talk about money and budgeting and how important it is to people generally in every sphere of their lives. It's very important.
So this acclaimed title,
Yes.
the Budget Queen.
The Budget Queen.
How did it come about?
Well, I think I read it somewhere that I had to make a claim. That was it. I had to
Okay.
say, this is who I am.
Right.
And then I started to live, towards that direction. I started to outlive it, really. So I just claimed it, and it stuck.
Okay.
Yeah, and then I found out that as I was talking about budgeting, people were listening, and it was making some sense, and then it was making some meaning to these people. It was touching because I was also relating to them as it concerns money. So
Right.
yes, that's what happened.
Okay, so for the sake of this conversation,
Yes.
let's break it down for our viewers, really. What is budgeting?
Budgeting is a very simple tool that people use for personal finance. That's all. It's just a simple tool to track your expenses, to know where your money is going to, where it's going out, to where it's coming from, and all of that. And then anybody can use a budget. The organizations use a budget as well. The single lady or male can use a budget. The household can use a budget.
Yeah.
Everything, it affects every sphere of our lives. And then people need to understand that it does affect all those areas, and then do something about it. When we neglect it and then something like that happens to us in January, then we're all sad
Yeah.
and we're stressed, and we just can't handle it in some cases.
Okay, and what would you say are the stages of budgets, like budgeting?
Okay, so one of the first things that I would advise for anybody is to know where your income is coming from. I always advocate that you have multiple sources of income. So you're not just stable. In the beginning, when you asked me what I do work as a school administrator, and I do this on the side. On the side, again, I also love to read books. So I
Okay.
have a book club for children.
Oh.
Yes, I do.
Nice.
I also, I do a lot of things. I'm multi-passionate that way. So I always tell people to know where their sources of income is coming from, so that they can actually pad. That's how you pad your budget, to know that, okay, look, I want to be comfortable this way, so I need all these sources of income. Maybe this one is not enough. For some people, that one may be enough, but for some people, it's not, depending on the lifestyle that you choose.
That you've
So
chosen.
the first stage is to know where all these things are coming from, your income, and then you now plan how am I going to spend it? Where am I going to spend it on? What are my wants, my needs, my desires, and all those things? And am I going to save? That's the key, really, to keeping it on your side. Am I going to save and invest? Because if I don't, then it's a waste of time.
Waste of time.
Yes.
Yeah. So, how do you grow the discipline to actually budget?
Stick
Because
to
budgeting
budgeting.
is, like saving, is a discipline.
It's
you
a
need,
discipline.
you really need to
It's a
teach yourself.
skill.
It's a skill.
Yes.
So how do you grow that capacity?
You've just got to learn it.
Okay.
And stick with it. And that is discipline. So obviously you may fall down, by the wayside
By the
and may not be
wayside.
able to continue sometimes. But the key to keeping the discipline is that you come back to it and
Okay.
you say, I'm going to try again.
Right.
I'm going to try again. So it's the consistency really that will help you to stick to that budget that you
Okay.
have. Yes, it's the consistency.
Let us talk
Yeah.
about those that right now they only have just one source of income.
Yeah.
How can they? Because many people actually draw out a budget. Okay, so
Yes.
this is how I want
A
to
realistic
spend.
budget, I hope.
Well,
It should be a
yes,
realistic budget.
They most times draw out the realistic budget. Okay, so this is how I want to spend this income, this particular
Yes.
income. But at the end of the day, you see that they go out
So they were not disciplined in the first place.
of it.
So it means that they were not disciplined and they ought to have been disciplined. And again, like I said, when I interrupted you, I said to you, they might not have drawn up a realistic budget. Maybe they were
Budget.
drawing up something, a wish, a desire. But this is what my income is, then my budget should be based on that income. So for instance, someone sent me a message and she said, oh, I'm earning like 65K, and she listed all her responsibilities, and rent is also supposed to come from there and all of that. So I had to ask her hard questions because sometimes people feel that you're too strict on yourself on the budget, but you actually need to be a bit strict. You get. So I said to her, how are you going, if you're living in a maybe 3-bedroom apartment or something, then you need to leave. The area you are living in matters. You can't afford, if you're earning 65K, then there are some areas I won't find you in. You have to be living in such a place that they can, that your rent can fit into
Fits
that
in.
amount, yes, monthly. So it depends on you have to be hard on yourself, as a matter of fact. Yes.
Interesting.
So if you want to live a better life, you want a better standard of living, then
Look for
you
other
should
sources of
look for
income.
yeah.
So now I'm picking that in when you're devising a budget.
Yes.
You need to have an income. You have to
need to have an income, obviously,
you
yes.
state your income.
Yes.
You need to define what your needs and your wants are.
You need to in
Yeah.
other words, you're prioritizing.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Maybe like a time frame.
Oh well,
as
it's
well.
usually
So I'm essentially asking what should be in a budget plan for a person.
well, for everybody, their needs and their wants,
Okay.
they all differ. Mine
Okay.
is different from yours,
Yes.
different
Yeah.
because, for instance, I put out my own budget, and someone didn't find rent in there. So I said to that person, hey, my budget is different from yours.
Aha.
For one reason or another, I'm not paying rent. I used to pay rent, and at that time, I know it sounds funny, but at that time, rent was on my budget, but right now it's not because I am not paying any rent right now.
Okay.
So even though it's so important, even though it's a priority
Thing,
category,
yeah.
yes, it's not on my budget, but it's okay for me. You understand? So for some people, you won't find some things, but basically you would find rent, you find school fees,
Okay.
feeding.
All right.
You find medical amenities and everything that you need to do with that. So those are major things that you find in
Yeah.
a budget. But honestly, it could be anything.
Yeah.
What about clothing,
Uh-huh.
personal care, and all of that? Anything could be in a budget.
Okay, so-
Gift giving
Yeah.
can be in the budget. Entertainment for yourself, because a lot of people just create the budget. I want this, I want that, I want that, I want that, but they don't include something that they can use to have fun.
Aha. That's the next question I was going to ask.
We want you to have fun as well. You have to be very flexible when you are, drawing up your budget. You just can't leave it to chance, really.
Okay.
Sure.
You've got to put in all those things that you want, no matter how little it is, depending on how much you're earning. So I said to you earlier, if you want more, then and you're not earning as much, then you look for other sources of income to pad it
Yeah.
up. Yeah.
Would you consider you know, we live in a world where things happen,
Yeah.
right?
Every
Unforeseen
day.
circumstances,
Yes.
miscellaneous things.
Yes.
And people don't often prepare for things like that. You've stated that, okay, prepare for gifting, put aside money that you can use to cater for yourself. But how about unforeseen circumstances, things that you were not even expecting to happen? How about that?
You put that in too. You put it
Okay.
under miscellaneous,
Miscellaneous.
or emergency.
Aha.
You put that in too. You must build it into your budget. It might not be, it might not take care of all of those unforeseen,
unforeseen
circumstances,
circumstances.
but maybe then you can now go into the savings to take some out. Like I said, you have to have this flexible mindset so that you just go like, I'm disciplined, and you just go straight. No. I'm disciplined, but I'm flexible because I can handle it. So I build that into my budget and I move on from there. You understand? So, but again, for those of us who don't plan,
At all, you
yeah,
know?
so we have failed. And that's why we suffer at the end of the day. So we have to plan for all of these things. You plan for those people, those relatives who know that you're going to be paid around the 24th
Yeah.
or so, 28th or
But at
end of
times
the
it's not
month.
often like that.
Well, for some
At
people,
times you don't even expect the pay and it comes.
So they come and meet you at that time. And if you didn't plan for them, I mean, sometimes, look, this is how we do it. You actually have to plan an amount for them.
Actually.
You don't have to give them everything that they require from you because a lot of people will come and meet you. So because of that, you run away. You go and hide under a leaf. You can't
True
stop
that,
living
yeah,
your life.
true.
So you give to as many people as you can, depending on what you budgeted for them. You understand? You have to plan for that giving as well.
Okay, so let's go the school way now.
Okay.
Let's talk about the advantages and disadvantages of budgeting.
Okay, so obviously the advantage is that you live a stress-free life. Honestly, because you have what you need and you'll be able to plan, And another thing is that it helps you with some other skills, some other associated skills like responsibility, record keeping, organization. They come from all this because, like you said, if you didn't plan, I mean, how would you succeed in the first place?
Yeah.
You would fail. It will fail. So those are some of the advantages. And of course, the disadvantages that, you failed and you'll be poor. You will be poor, really.
If you fail to budget.
If you fail to budget.
Okay.
Actually.
That would be a disadvantage.
Okay.
You'll be poor. You won't have any record to go back to. You won't be able to track your expenses. Oh, what did I spend my money on? How did it disappear? I mean, I have a fair knowledge, for instance, of what I spend my money on, where it's going to, how it's coming in.
Yeah.
But some people just have no knowledge of all of that. They can't even think about it. They don't know that, this month or in the last 6 months, I actually spent too much on shoes. Do you understand? They can't track the expense. But, I have a fair knowledge that, okay, I spent it mostly on school fees. Because school fees, I mean, it's a lot when you consider, even for oneself, for personal development, not let alone the children's school fees as well.
Yeah. So I want to talk about accountability. Accountability in budgeting. So obviously growing the discipline to budget as an individual can be difficult.
It can be.
Yeah, because it's a discipline thing at the end of the day. And what I find with discipline is that it's usually better when there is a form of accountability. So it's easier when the discipline is easier when there's accountability. So how can, because I want to lead into, for instance,
like a couple, for instance, they can be accountable to each other. So they're forming that alliance already. We're one in the marriage, so we can actually talk about our money. We're supposed to be open about it, and we can talk about it, and then we are accountable to each other. Sometimes they even do a joint budget together. For some people, they won't do that because they know how they are as it concerns money. But for some people, they will. And then, if depending on who they are, their personalities and all of that, then they can work well together. For maybe friends, or people who have coaches or mentors or something, they can be accountable to those
single people now.
Single people.
Yes.
Okay, so single people, they can be accountable to themselves.
Okay.
Yes, each other, friends that they are, single people together. And this is how I'm spending this money. And you reveal what it is. You have to be able to reveal, because I know a lot of people just like to hide. Does it happen to you? Just like to hide everything. But if I hide everything, how will I learn all those kind of
Exactly.
things? And I might learn something from you. So I'm saying that, look, let's reveal it to each other. Let's hold each other accountable. How did you spend? How did you make income this one? What did you do to get to this level? How were you able to save? What form of investment did you take? You know, and that's how you learn, and then you can help each other, and then you're accountable to each
So
other.
still on this,
Yeah.
accountability question, there are productivity apps that that
There
help
are.
with brand.
The budget
and
even
all of
like
that.
organizations,
Yes.
they use a very complicated softwares
Yeah.
to handle their budgeting. Does that help? Compared to, for instance, this accountability with
it
a
helps
person.
a lot
Okay.
for a lot of people. It does help, and like we said, there are so many apps out there,
Yeah.
softwares out there that do all these things.
Yeah.
Although I advocate for the simple budget, because some people will tell you that, hey, I don't know maths, I don't know how to make this calculation. So just do it as simply as you can. If you want to use your pen and paper, please feel free.
Okay.
If you want to use Excel sheet, please feel free. If you want to use the apps, feel free
Yeah.
in using any one of them. But like you said, it does make it easier. It makes the calculation easier.
Okay.
And all of that, because you're just imputing all those things that you need to do.
Okay.
Okay, so let's
Yeah.
talk about the age factor now. A lot of us feel like it's only the salary earners that should draw a budget. What do you feel? Of course, we know that children are not involved because, I mean, there's nothing coming in. I'm talking about
there's something
really,
coming
really
in for
small
them.
children. Are you
Okay,
serious?
like in form of
Yes, they
allowance?
receive gifts.
Yeah.
We're
Okay.
talking about like toddlers now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But moving like from teens upwards, what
Yes.
do you feel?
What do I feel about what now?
Do you feel that it shouldn't just be age, like the budgeting thing?
Yes,
it's-
because I do agree with you. It shouldn't be restricted to the age.
Yeah.
Yes, anybody can budget, no matter how young they are. Because, for instance, the teens, they start to learn how to deal with money, how to
Yes.
save, how to invest, and all of that. Sometimes they're just learning from their parents or from friends and all of that. So the younger you start to budget, actually, the better it is for you. You understand? The younger it is, the better. So as you get older, you have, say you want to amass wealth, for instance, so you begin to save quite a lot and you have something to do with, a project to work on or something if you started from your youth, as opposed to when you're starting from an older age. So yes, I do advocate and I agree with you that younger people can actually start to draw up their budgets and all of that. Yeah.
All right. So, given the way the year has gone,
COVID
I wanna,
year.
yes, let us put budgeting into perspective, the
Yes.
context of 2020. 2020 has been tough on a lot of people.
Yeah.
We have viewers in the UK, and what's going on in the UK, for instance, with the furlough policy. A lot of people have been out of jobs. A lot of people have not been working. In Nigeria as well, very similar thing.
Yeah.
And in Nigeria, it's quite peculiar because a lot of people in Nigeria live from what they're able to earn
Yeah.
per day, or per week. So, and I'm guessing maybe, as the budget queen that you are, that maybe people have come and asked you questions,
Yeah.
putting 2020 into context. So how how would you advise a person to deal with a budget in a year like
Like this.
2020?
One sure method is to actually have the multiple streams of income. Because say you are a salary earner and maybe your job was affected, what will you do? You will be hopeless. But if you have another source of income, something that you do, a skill that you have, something that you're doing, you can actually begin to earn some source of income from there. So that's one way. Another thing is, say for instance, you didn't totally lose your job, but your salary was downscaled or something. So you have to start to
another
live
thing.
within that new income.
Yeah.
You have to actually change your lifestyle. Because the budget is a living document. You can actually change it to suit what's happening per time, you understand? So that's the advice I'll give them, because I saw a lot of things happening throughout this COVID period, this year.
yeah.
Yes, a lot of people suffered. A lot of people couldn't just wait to get back to normal, and normal hasn't really come back.
Not really.
It hasn't really come back, and then we don't even know what's going to happen in the new year.
new year,
Yes.
you know.
So if you are actually forward thinking and you have a vision of what you want for yourself, then you have to actually start to think about getting other sources
Of
of
income.
income. Now, I'm not saying leave your job because you are not sure of what could happen, but I'm saying to you, just do other things that you can with the time that you have.
Thank you so much
Thank
for,
you for having me.
you know, I mean, this has been very insightful.
very
I think I can better plan now for
Yeah.
the new year. I
Yeah.
know the things to do and the things not to do.
Yes.
And I mean, that this is Temi Tope Osimoko, and she has been able to, you know, dissect this conversation, budgeting for the new year, and how important it is for you and for us all to budget for the coming new year.